Hey everyone. Alright, so in this video I'm going to talk about something that's uh, not a good thing. And I don't even want to have to talk about it, but in all honesty, I'm at the point right now where I kind of have to talk about it. Um, and it's regarding EOS. There's some, there's something seriously wrong with this. And I find it annoying that I'm even having to explain it, but okay. So last night I made a thread where I noticed that TRYBE did an airdrop where they accidentally gave more tokens than they were supposed to give, and they corrected the problem by doing an unauthorized transaction on my wallet, right? And I'd made a thread on Reddit about it. And at first I was kind of fudding, EOS, great, fudding a coin that I hold. But the thing is that I care more about truth than I care about money. So, yeah, if I see FUD for a coin that I'm holding because I want the technology to be good, I want the ecosystem to be healthy and and useful, and I want to be able to actually make it a home where I can develop things that people will want, then yes, I will bring things to light that are inconvenient because that is what I need to do. That's what all of us need to do. If you see something that is a genuine problem that does need criticism, then you have to bring it up. Otherwise, we're just going to end up with problems. And one of the things that I always drive home when it comes to any time I talk about dApps platforms is that they are political. They are not simple beasts. They are more complicated than pure currency coins. They are a different situation um, in practice and fundamentally, than something as simple as like Bitcoin or whatever. They're bigger beasts with more interconnected functionality, loops that come back around and increase the value of the coin by encouraging people to do things, and so it's a very different situation. And with that extra power that the developers have comes extra responsibility, which means that we're going to be in a constant feedback loop of political discourse no matter what we do. So I sit here and I'm staring blankly at the screen wondering about this on so many levels. So ultimately what I'm looking at here is that the techie messed up an airdrop, which is an air grab, and to correct the problem there is a transaction that I did not authorize from my wallet to correct the problem. I hope this isn't the case, but that is what it seems to look like. Okay, so I made the thread, and at first I was kind of fighting EOS, right, as a whole, but actually EOS isn't the problem this time. This is something else. So this is something that I've talked a lot about when it comes to Ethereum maximalists as well. People who believe that the dApps developers should be the ones holding all the power because they don't want to have to worry about on-chain governance. Well, there you go. This is what it looks like. Apparently, it was explained to me that the reason why the transaction was able to be reversed, EOS's design allows contracts to have their code updated after they've been deployed. And unlike Ethereum-like chains, this is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it makes issues like the DAO, parity self-destruct vulnerability easy to fix. Yeah, because you just changed the smart contract. On the other hand, it means that unless a contract owner voluntarily relinquishes ownership of the contract, they can change it however they like. For example, a token issuer can go in and add a backdoor that lets them move the tokens without permission, as appears would have happened here. In other words, the tribe's tokens are designed in such a way where, and they're utilizing this power without any oversight. Okay, so at first I was like, this is just the tribe team doing, tribe stuff, right? And I was like, okay, you know what? This is just gonna blow over, and it's really kind of stupid. And most Ethereum maximalists are probably pro this kind of shit anyway because they don't seem to have any problems with giving all of the power to the dApps developers. And I don't know. I mean, that's not even probably a good way to even think about it. But I do think that every dApps developer should be allowed to decide, what's good for their system, right? They're if you're building something on a blockchain and you want to do things a certain way, then you know we shouldn't be like making things. We shouldn't be policing people's wants and desires. Like if he wants to make something that's fundamentally flawed, then have at it. Maybe people want something fundamentally flawed. I don't know. So I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. This is just gonna blow over. It's not even, you know what I mean? Like, but one thing I do have to stress, I do have to say this: just because you have the power to do something doesn't mean you should. I'm sorry, just because you have the power to do it does not mean you should do it. Um, authorizing, unauthorized transactions on people's wallets is never a good thing. I also pointed out in the thread here that they removed the full amount of tribe tokens, and then they gave me the correct amount afterwards. What does that actually like? On a technical level, that means that they have already removed tokens that actually did belong to me because I got the correct amount the first time. It was the other three that they're correcting. But the way that they chose to do it is that they removed all of them and then gave me another thing, right? Well, okay, so we're already kind of encroaching on a point where if I'm talking to somebody and they ask me, hey, have you ever had coins removed from your wallet that actually belong to you? I can't, within full confidence, actually, with full honesty, actually say no now. I'm now in a situation where I've already, what has it been, 4 or 5 months? I've already had coins removed from my wallet that actually belonged to me. And I mean, yeah, sure, okay, the context of the situation is that they were correcting a problem. Um, but now, on principle, I can't lie about this because I try to be a principled person. I can't tell them a clean cut answer. No, it's never happened to me ever now. Do you understand? So principles are important because they're the foundation of everything. We can't just we can't throw principles out the window here. Okay? Double standards are for idiots. And people are weak. So in this situation, I'm sitting here and I'm like, guys, it's not a good idea to do unauthorized transactions on people's accounts to fix the problem. It's just not a good idea, no matter what. It's a principled argument. In other words, this is a principled situation. Just because you have the power to do something doesn't mean you should. Now I'm starting to kind of repeat myself, but it does need to be stressed. Okay. But on that note, I mean, there are people who did in fact actually dump their tribe tokens when they got more than they were supposed to get, and it did already dump the amount of tokens value down pretty significantly. Um, it got dumped pretty hard, and it happened pretty much as soon as the airdrop happened. Like I wasn't. I'm kind of an idiot, and if if I had played everything exactly correctly, I probably would have dumped all of my tokens instantly as soon as I got them so that I can buy them back lower. I'd already talked about doing exactly that in the first place, but I kind of lapsed. I'm kind of an idiot. I'm not good at this stuff. So, other people did actually dump all of the tokens that they got, which means that, well, they basically got free money, and it dumped the value of the coin down even further, probably than it would have dumped before, right? So, um, so I was like, all right, look, I get it. There's a lot of technical working situations with this whole entire thing. Let's maybe we can just let it go, and it'll just it's kind of stupid. This is just the way that the tribes team decided that they actually want to do things. And then I saw the response here. Hi everyone. The memo. Whoops, our techie messed up. Hope you enjoyed the show. Read about it on TRYBE was actually meant to be a tongue-in-cheek and not to be taken 100% seriously. Alright. So, so fundamentally something that is the very cornerstone of cryptocurrency was treated in tongue-in-cheek situation. Okay. Although maybe we are a little bit negligent in relying on um, EOS JS software to work as it was supposed to work. The fact that we didn't. Okay, and you know what? Hey, whatever. It was a bug. It was a bug, right? Fine. I mean, that's why dApps platforms are more complicated than pure currency platforms because dApps platforms have to be designed in such a way as, um, value destroying bugs where people's wallets get trashed or airdrops produce the incorrect value or whatever, like, need to be correctable, right? Makes sense. So, I mean, and a lot of people will say, "Oh, EOS is terrible because it has this functionality," but in reality, guys, look, we can sit here and we can we can sit here and harp on EOS nonstop about this, but I believe firmly that pretty much every dApps platform is going to be doing this shit because you really can't do it any other way. And I know a lot of people like to pretend like, my dApps platform is going to be perfect. It's no, this shit is normal. This is going to be very normal because that's just the nature of the beast. You you have to have ways to correct these kinds of bugs. You have to have things that prevent you know destruction of the entire ecosystem just because somebody fucking didn't had a bug in their software. Like you have to have tools in order to maintain things. Otherwise, it could all just come down in a fiery mess because some idiot forgot to put a a dash or something. Like seriously, it can happen, and it does make sense, and there's no way around it. Okay, Ethereum's gonna be doing the same shit. Neo's gonna be doing the same shit. Tron's probably already doing the same shit. All of them, IOTA, fucking ADA, they're all gonna be doing this shit. And if you don't think so, wait 2 years. You'll fucking see for yourself. If you're interested in finding out exactly what happened and what measures we took to remedy the situation, please read Nathan's article below. If you'd prefer to just attack us, nobody would. I don't prefer to attack anybody or attack EOS itself because yes, EOS, unlike most blockchains, does have options available when things don't go according to plan. And feel free. We are comfortable in our decision to reverse transactions. We are comfortable in our react. We are comfortable in our decision to reverse transactions in the instance that in the instance rather than leaving huge amounts of tokens in people's wallets, which would actually destroy the value. Well, I think the damage is done, honestly, as far as value of people's tokens. But I don't know. I mean, it probably wouldn't have gone down much more than. Uh, it probably would be a little bit higher if people didn't get a huge amount and they just dumped them instantly. Um, so yeah, there's that. But also too, the value is relative. It's not exactly like the airdrop is supposed to be at a certain valuation, right? Like the coins are going to be valued at what they're worth. People are going to figure that out. Humans are really good at this. It's actually one of the main things that humans are like actually genuinely good at in a collective is we just fucking figure out the value of something. So, I mean, so what if it's 10 tokens versus 1 token? I mean, the value of using the platform, the amount that I earn for making posts on the Tribe network is roughly the same. I'm still going to get roughly the same USD value, uh, and all that. It is what I'm saying, basically. It'll all even out no matter what the value per token is. It doesn't really actually genuinely matter. But okay, let's go with this. What we did, by the way, is not just a function of the tribe token, but of any token built on EOS. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna have to. This is one of the. This is right here. This paragraph is the thing that spurned me. And to be honest, I was very glad that it was allowed. That it was and allowed us to correct an error that was not entirely our fault. Had this been another blockchain, that wouldn't have been possible. Well, first of all, pretty much any dApps platform is probably going to have this kind of power, and it's going to be a constant battle. And whatever. So the okay, sorry, I got distracted for a second there. All right, so let's go over the content of this right here. And this is why I'm making the video. And this is pretty much at the cornerstone of everything, other than me ranting for a bit about this. And to be honest, I was very glad for us, to be allowed to correct the error and blah, blah, blah. First of all, you shouldn't have really corrected the error. You should have just let it go. It's a PR disaster if you don't. A potential PR disaster. Not for EOS, but for Tribe. Also, you got to be really careful when you start doing stuff like this. I'm kind of an idiot, and I say stuff, pretty openly when it comes to like what I'm talking about. I have no problem whatsoever telling people how I actually feel and stuff like that. And that's gonna, probably eventually bite me in the ass one of these days. It probably already has. I mean, this video is kind of an example of that. But the thing is, though, is like there's a certain point where you have to realize, dude, if you mess up, you have to apologize. And you have to admit that you knew it was wrong. But this isn't an apology. This is a double down. So, here's the problem with this, though, which is fine, fuck it, whatever, right? Here's the problem, though. Does this allow for centralized control? Yes. This allows for centralized control. Is this always a bad thing? Yes. Yes, it's always a bad thing. It's always. It's an extremely bad thing. What are you talking about? What is this? It's always a bad thing. How did we arrive at this where is centralized control always? Yes, it is. This is one of the reasons why I argue with Ethereum maximalists that you can't just give all of the control to the dApps developers. That there has to be a checks and balances, that there has to be some kind of oversight, that everybody has to be, because it's the only way to achieve any kind of it is the only way to achieve any kind of decentrality. We're in a situation where the entire point of all of this is decentralization. Do you understand? So yes, it's wrong. Yes, it's completely fucking. It's always it's always a bad thing. It's just you almost have to like, do 5 hail satoshis every time you even try to justify doing something that might be somewhat centralized. This is a huge problem here. This mentality is terrible, and also too, you drag down every other EOS every other EOS token. Okay, so one of the things that I argue when it comes to Ethereum maximalists constantly is about, well, somebody has to have some control over social media and stuff like that. Otherwise, people can post anything that they want, and it's a bad thing, right? And you end up having to have at least some degree of censorship. And the reason that I argue that you have to have some degree of censorship is because there needs to be like a happy space. There has to be a spot where, okay, people can't post literally anything they want, but then people can get away with posting more than they would be allowed to normally post on Google, Facebook, Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, we're just competing with these morons over here. We got the legacy media, we got these dumbasses, the ones that can't even handle fucking Alex Jones. Just ignore him. Just ignore his ass if you don't like him. These people, right? We're trying to get away from these people over here on this, and we want to kind of be in this space, but we don't want to be in this space where like people are posting like, dead bodies and God knows what else. Okay, I don't even want to fucking talk about it. So we'll end up in that. Yeah, we don't want that, right? Like, actually, dead bodies probably not even that bad compared to some of this stuff. And then we want to be kind of in here, right? Like, this is the ideal space. All right. Otherwise, I mean, what's the point of any of this, right? So, all of this is about decentrality and making it so that we have censorship resistance. Okay. So is centralized control always a bad thing? Yeah, it is. And as Nathan points out in his article, the balance between those two extremes. Yes, the balance between those two extremes is an organizational structure, such as a DAC, which one day TRYBE hopes to become. Okay. Well, I mean, why even bother with a DAC at this point? Alright, so one of the things that needs to be pointed out here is that EOS isn't centralized. It has a consensus model on its main chain. And the consensus model, or the governance model, requires consensus. It has to have 16 of 21. There's actual rules in place in order for people to actually arrive at the, within that happy space of censorship and things of that nature, where we're beating the dumbasses that want to just control everything, and sitting somewhere in this space, and but not going too far, right? So we're trying to find that balance, and that's EOS is pretty good about that. We get this big, complicated system that Dan Larimer has put together piece by piece, and we're all just coming together with this like thing, and it took a year plus, probably even longer, of just bringing down all of these ideas on how to find this balance, and all of this energy and money, and resources and just blood, sweat, and tears to come to this to this one thing that is absolutely important, and what do? We just allow the dApps developers to have 100% of the control of everything? We can't do that. That's why we need on-chain governance, is to watch these people. So, here we are. And this is one of the things that, yeah, like with Ethereum, this is the only way that Ethereum would have any governance at all, is because the dApps developers will be able to do whatever they want. Like, no, that's not good either. That's just as bad. What the fuck difference is that from Facebook and Google and Twitter? What the fuck difference? If they have full control over, oh, but we can make many versions. No, you can't. That's not how it works. There's a Pareto distribution. When it comes to people who are successful, there's always going to be one group, one company or one dApp that becomes super popular, that gets like 100% of all of the people on board, and and basically nobody uses anything else. It's just how humans seem to work. And once they have that power, they're basically Google at that point. And that's how it works. So we can't allow them to be the only ones with all the power. Otherwise, fuck it, right? So we're in a situation here where it's like, what is the point of this? And why does this even have to be explained? I guess it has to be explained because it isn't a simple thing, right? So I guess we're going to have to keep talking about it. And then I'll just sit here and talk about this endlessly. But the thing is that this needs to be stressed. You can't do that. You've just taken all of that time and energy and everything about the decentrality of EOS itself, the ecosystem of the main chain, and you've just sat on it and said, I could do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about a consensus. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We can ban anybody we want. We can take somebody's money if we feel like it. These coins are actually not actually worth anything. All of them. Thanks, dude. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't even realize it. So apparently all of these coins are worth nothing because they can literally be taken from you without even a consensus model. All of them. Is this really seriously? Now I don't know for sure, but which dApps on here, which of these tokens, have they actually given full control? I'm not gonna provide tokens that I have control over. I don't even want that kind of power. If I work on anything, or if I have any control or say or whatever, I'm handing the tokens out and you have them. I'm not going to allow this kind of bullshit. I don't want that kind of control. I don't want to completely and utterly shit on the entire ecosystem that has been so painfully and meticulously constructed through, countless hours. And come on, really? We can't let the dApps developers have full control either. And this is exactly one of the reasons why it's important to have on-chain governance, because otherwise the dApps developers will be the ones with all the control. So, and then none of it mattered. And then none of it mattered. All the decentrality of layer 1 with Ethereum, all of the decentrality of layer 1 with anything, none of it mattered, because we just handed 100% of the centrality and the control to the developers. So what the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want it. And I'm actually seriously thinking about dumping all of my tokens right now, because there's no way these things are going to go up in value if this shit gets... I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, I'm going to have to find a list of which of these tokens have been, relinquished to the actual owner of the wallet. I'm probably going to make a thread about it. I'm going to talk about this now. Now I have to talk about this because I'm obligated to. Which of these tokens have actually been relinquished control to the actual wallet owner. Which ones? Which ones are not completely and utterly shitting on the entire ecosystem? Huh. Well, I guess that's an important thing to find out. Because if I find out a list of them, I'm selling. I'm selling every single one of them. What the fuck is the point? What was the point of any of this? All right, I'm done with my rant. Yeah, I don't know. Centralization is always a bad thing. Like 100%, always a bad thing.